What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here, and what I got for your face balls today, we're going to be doing a bunch of assemblies. Now, these two right here are already assembled, the work's already done, so if you guys remember, I put up a video the other day and showed tearing apart a bunch of these knives. This here is the Orion Solaris. The only thing I did on this one was acid wash the blade. Looks fantastic. I may go ahead and anno the clip green, just because I feel like it would look great with the green clip, and it's too bad that the thumb studs aren't tie as well, so it might be cool to put a green thumb stud on there, but otherwise I think it turned out fantastic. Looks really, really great. Yeah, and just a cool knife. So that's the first one. Second one, the KUF. You can see the Teletubby is gone. So Teletubby is gone. There you go. You can see I matched the angle right there. Hit my finger on the belt grinder the other day, so that's fun. But I had like a 800 grit belt on, so it was more of a burn than anything. But there you go. You can see this thing still makes wonderful sounds. It's fantastic. The KUF, really cool knife. And I've already filmed a review on all of the Liang Ma knives that I have right at the moment, so you'll be seeing that here real shortly as well. But there was some discussion about the Teletubby. You can see it cut off right here. And Kevin, the owner of this knife, was under the impression that it may in some way, shape, or form improve the action because of the weight that was being removed. I assured him that that wasn't the case, but real quick, I kept the piece just so we could see how much weight we actually cut off. Definitely going to have to switch this to grams. Here we go. 0.58 gram. So not even 1 gram, basically 6/10 of a gram. And then you've got the kerf of my cutoff wheel that I used to cut it off originally, and then, you know, sanding down a little tiny bit. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and call it 3/4 of a gram. Yeah, not enough to even be the least bit concerned with. It weighs absolutely nothing. So there you go. All right, let's just jump right into this. I also have got, here's the 2 flipper tabs that were cut off of these two Sheepdog Xls, and let's just get right into this. We're going to start assembling. So first up, this is a knife that is just going up on the website, and this is a standard cold steel 8015. Now everything I did to this, I went ahead and did, I reground the blade on this knife. And so this thing is right out about 10 thousandths behind the edge. I can get this thing to line up. Oh, I got the wrong scale on here. This thing only has D shapes on one side. I bet it's going to work better now if I do it this way. And sure enough, it does. All right. Let's get this other one in. So I reground the blade, and like I said, it's about 10 thousandths behind the edge. It ended up turning out fantastic. I acid washed the liners. I bronzed all the hardware. Get in there. And the thumb stud, bronzed everything, including the lanyard tube there. I also pulled the pin out, the stop pin. That's a press fit in this aluminum scorpion lock bar. Wasn't super easy to get that out of there without scratching everything up, but you can see right there. So it matches all the hardware. So pretty happy with the way this all turned out. And we need to get our washers and spring. There we go. Now the way that this goes back together, I'm going to be using KPL Heavy here just because I like it and it works well, and you just need a tiny little bit. So I had a good time doing all these knives. I had several others, some customer knives and stuff that have already been shipped out. So there's been several lots of mod work going on this week. Had just yeah, tons of stuff to get done. I'm actually going out of town next week for work, so yeah, I had many things that I had to get finished up. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of KPL Heavy on this pivot back here for the scorpion lock, and then we're also just going to put a little, just some tiny little specks on the flats here, just because that does interface and rub on the liners. So we want to get just a tiny little film of oil. You can see that just barely put a little bit of oil on there. Now all the sharpening is done on these, but they all still have to be stropped up. Come on. Are you kidding me? This is the fun of doing this on camera, which I will say that I tried taking some video of me regrinding some of these blades, and I may end up showing some of that in the future, but I can there's a whole bunch of things that I can do. Video editing is not one of those things. What we got going on here? I didn't think there was a difference. No, there must be. There is a difference between the outer diameter of these two pieces of hardware here. I did not know that. Line up there. There we go. Get these there we go. Okay. Now let's see if we can drop that down on there. Look at that. Yeah, I thought that those were all the same, but obviously I was wrong. Okay. Now we're in much better shape here. So let's get this spring pushed in. All right, spring's in. And now put the top liner on. This one here, because of that spring tension, you got to straighten up that lanyard tube. Okay. If I remember right, these are T10. Yes, they are. So when I disassembled all these knives, I also had an 8015 light. That one's already been shipped out to its new owner. But if anyone's interested in this one right here, it's going to go up on the website. Alright, we need to get a little KPL on the back of this tang here. So one bad thing about KPL Heavy is it's slow to come out of the bottle. Alright, we'll set it up for right side carry. And these are T6. So, like I said, it was enjoyable to do all this work. I had a good time grinding blades and stuff, and yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy them as much as I do. So you can see here we've got the bronze hardware, even the bronze stop pin, screws, pocket clip is acid stone wash, so is the blade, and the liners. And then one last thing we need to add on here is this thumb stud, which I'm going to use just a tiny bit of red Loctite just because we don't want the thumb stud coming loose. I'm going to try to get through these pretty quickly. Alright. Should have had a bigger flat blade screwdriver over here, but I kind of forgot about that. Alright. There you go. There is the Cold Steel 8015 with the blade that is 10 thousandths behind the edge. This thing is a cutting beast, so we're S35VN. I also dyed the G10 black, but before I did, I knocked down about half of that texturing that's on the 8015 scales. If you guys have ever handled one of these, that texturing is very, very aggressive. So I rounded the edges of the scales just to make it a little bit more comfortable. Knocked down a bunch of that sharpness, and so you can still see that the texturing is there, but I knocked it down by about half. Now that's also going to make it not eat up your pocket so much, but I need to loosen the screws just a tiny bit. Okay, we got good. Yeah, this thing's going to have to break in a little bit. I think I got the pivot just a little bit too tight. There we go. Yeah, this thing is sweet. So this is, like I said, an 8015 that is an absolute beast with a wicked, wicked grind on it. So there you go. There is a custom Cold Steel 8015. These will be up on the website, so by the time you see this video, if you're interested, go to the website. Okay, so we're getting ready to do some acid etching on some parts here, and you can see that I have masked off my area that I do not want. Actually, I need to clean a little spot off. So now I've just masked this off with nail polish. So as you guys know, my wife has a ton of nail polish, so I get to use the colors that she doesn't like or whatever, for whatever the reason. But what we've got here, this is just titanium wire that I've cut into hooks. And so we'll just hook a part on here. Now you can see that I'm wearing gloves. And the reason for that is I don't want to get any of my fingerprint oils on the part. So these parts have all been cleaned and degreased. And so my acid bath that I've got going here, this is just a like Rubbermaid Tupperware container. It's like one for cereal that's tall. And then this is a mixture of ferric chloride as well as a few other special things that gets the desired finish that I'm looking for. So I just hang my parts in just like that. And so this here is a Demco 80-20.5, and we are going to do an acid wash on the scale, or the liners. Here is the blade, and you can see that I've got everything masked off that I do not want to acid etch. Let's see, we're gonna hook it right here. Nothing real critical here. You just want to make sure that your part is completely submerged. And now we've got a couple of small parts here, and I'll show you how I do this. So here's the pocket clip, and we'll just make a little bit of a U-bend so our parts are not touching each other. And here is the shark lock. Again, masked off. So just like this. So now your parts are not touching one another, and right into the acid. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. The way that I do it, I actually let this sit for probably about 30 minutes, and then I come back and check my parts and kind of go from there, depending on, you know, the level of acid etch that I'm looking for. But we'll come back and check out and see what these look like in a little bit. Okay, let's get into this guy right here. This is a customer knife. This is the 80-20.5. I actually bead blasted the FRN scales first, gave them a little bit of texture, and opened it up a little bit to take this black dye. It took it extremely well. You can see all the parts and pieces here. And then the other thing that I did, the hardware on this knife, I was going to acid wash the hardware as well, because that's what the customer had asked for. However, the problem is not all the hardware is the same material. So it's a little bit of an issue on this knife. So the only thing I could do, the hardware, some of the hardware was bead blasted, and then you have all these pins. The pins were just machined, so you could, they looked kind of like a brushed satin finish. So I went ahead and bead blasted everything to get it all to match. So now the pins and everything match. So, you know, it's going to look significantly better than what it did. So that part's fantastic. But let's go ahead and build this guy and see what she looks like. I'm only supposed to fit in one side? Yeah, maybe. Alright, so I guess we got to build it from this direction. There we go. Okay. So this thing has got multiple pins for the shark lock assembly. And then you've got this fatter pin here for the blade stop. This has got steel caged steel bearings. Where's my KPL? Damn KPL heavy. So just due to the length of this video, I may cut it up into two different sections. We'll see. But I did take some video of the work that I was doing down in the shop, so I will cut in some different little video snippets of, you know, stone washing and different things like that. Let's see here. So all of these standoffs, they all have a D shape to them, but the holes in the liners are not D-shaped on either side. So that's kind of interesting. All right. Let's get the, I also acid washed the shark lock. I'm going to do the same thing. Here, let's do it on here. Just put a tiny, tiny little bit of lubricant on the edges of this just so we get nice action. Okay. Alright, so that drops in just like so. And then the spring drops in like that. Okay. Oh, scratch that. The D shapes are in this backspacer. Huh. So they do have D shapes molded into the plastic here, which kind of interesting. Probably cheaper to make it that way. And of course I dropped one. All right. Okay. Go ahead and set this other scale down. Actually, no. I need to throw a little KPL on here. All right. We'll get the pivot screw in first. Never mind, that's T10. So the pivot screw here, I don't know if it's aluminum or if it's tie, but either way, it is not steel, which, like I said, was kind of a bummer, just because I was planning on doing something with the hardware, but then it wasn't all going to match, so it's kind of pointless there. And really the only thing you can do is just copy and replicate the finish on all of the pieces. So after doing the acid stone wash on the liners, the blade, and the pocket clip, I think it's going to look pretty good. Alright. And then, oh, I'm a dumbass. So you do have two larger screws, or longer screws for the pocket clip. And all of these body screws are a T6. All in all, pretty cool little knife. You do get, you know, for a $150 knife, you get some phenomenal packaging with this thing. Hopefully that holds true and that wasn't just a blade show thing. But, you know, otherwise, I still believe this thing is pretty expensive for what it is. But, hey, people are buying them, and that's fantastic. So, you know, if just for me, it's a little overpriced. I mean, it is a cool knife, and I do like it, but I like the 80-20 better myself, and the 80-15. All right. Okay, now we just got the thumb stud left. Same deal here. We're just going to put a tiny bit of red Loctite on there. So this thing was set up for left-hand carry, apparently. And this is the way it was shipped to me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a better screwdriver over here for that, but there you go. That's what it looks like. So, acid wash blade, thumb stud, everything on it looks really cool. And now we've got blasted finish on all the hardware as well as these 3 pins. So now they all match, and with the black scales, looks very, very good. Like I said, all I got left to do is strop it. Action on it is exactly what you would expect for an 80-20.5. Alright, so now these parts are ready to come out of the acid. What I've got here, this is just a mixture of water and baking soda to neutralize the acid. You can see it's already been used a little bit, but let's go ahead and get these parts out of here. So here is the clip and shark lock. There we go. And there's one liner. I think this is the other liner here. Excellent. And then the blade. All right. You can see when you're neutralizing the acid, it bubbles a little bit, but I'm going to go and clean all these parts up. You can see the blade right there. and then I'll show you the next step, which is going to be stone washing. Might as well get into one of these. Alright, so everything I did on these, I already had one of these on the channel that I sold. And let's get the hardware over here. Okay. So these, I like the Sheepdog XL. It's an awesome knife. And so I did the scales. These are burlap micarta. I did them in red, bronze the hardware, bead blast and textured the scales first, dyed them red, acid washed the liners, the blade, reground the blade, bronzed all the hardware. Actually, let's just get this all dumped out here. There we go. And so let's get these standoffs put on here. All right, these are all T8. Oh, and of course I grab a T6. So when I was down in the shop trying to deal with video and different, oop, are you kidding me? Different aspects of, you know, the mod work that I do in my shop. Yeah, I'm not a video editor, that's for damn sure. And yeah, whether or not I'm going to be able to make that happen in the future, we're just going to have to see, because there's definitely a lot that goes into that. And when you start, you know, everything that I'm doing down there with all the different tools and stuff is extremely noisy. So that creates a big problem. And then you're going to have to edit it in a way to do voiceover and that kind of stuff. And I have no doubts that I could figure it out. But honestly, I don't really have the time to sit down and do all that stuff. And video editing is just extremely time consuming. So, you know, I figured I would show you as much as I could easily, and then we'll, you know, go from there. Maybe in the future I'll do more of that kind of stuff. I don't know, we'll see. But it's hard to get anything done when you're constantly dealing with stuff with the camera and wrong camera angles and lighting and all the bullshit that comes along with that. So it just takes a lot more time, and you know, trying to use the time that I have this past week. I was down in the shop multiple nights until some cases 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting stuff done. So yeah, it just it gets to be a lot to deal with, that's for damn sure. So all right, put the bearing down. Go ahead and close the blade here. Okay. T8. So on these Sheepdog Xls, one of these is already sold, which you guys will, I'm sure, most certainly find out about that. It's, yeah, going to another YouTuber, and he kind of, well, he ordered one for another YouTuber, so I won't spoil the surprise, if you will, but yeah, another YouTuber hit me up and said, hey, can you make one of those for another guy? And so I'm going to guess that you guys will end up seeing this knife more in the future. These are T6. So this is that one that's going to the YouTuber. So hopefully he enjoys it. And so these are right at about 10 thousandths behind the edge as well. Of course, I missed that. I'm gonna have to put some hair around that hole. Okay. It's too tight. So the last one that I did, so you can see blade centering is spot on. And because I did away with the flipper, right, it's just a hole opener. And I may have to go in and tune this detent just a little bit, but, oh, maybe not. It's breaking in really quick and easy. Nice. Can I Spidey flick it? Yes. Beautiful. Okay, so I softened the hole up a little bit. Oh yeah, this thing is going to be sweet. So you can see that's measured at 15 degrees, or sharpened at 15 degrees per side. You can see how tiny that secondary bevel is. So it's got a forward choil. Thing is super comfortable in hand. And there you go. There's one of two, which I did do something a little different on the second one, but you can see right there. So textured and blasted scales, dyed, reground blade, acid washed scales, clip, blade, bronzed hardware. Yeah, pretty sweet. And double row ceramic bearings. Action on it is stellar. All right, so here we got all the parts in the tumbler, and we're going to do some stone washing. So I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be quite noisy, but here we go. You'll see the parts running around here. Okay, you know what? Let's move on to this one. All right, so this one is the Kaiser Mini Critical. And super cool knife. Matt Christensen design. Let's get the hardware out and stuff for this one. Okay. So this one should be pretty straightforward. Oh, yeah, so on this one, again, I reground the blade. You guys might be sensing a theme here. This one also 10 thousandths behind the edge. I reprofiled the backspacer to give it just a nicer, softer feel in hand because I don't like the way it feels. It's kind of sharp and pointy. It's the one thing that I don't like about the Critical on the mini and the full size. The backspacer is just kind of pointy on the back end of it. And so this is, I think they call it, I don't know if they call it green micarta. Either way, it's gray. And it definitely looks very nice. But so I blasted it and gave it a nice texture. So that part's great. I also, you guys have probably already noticed that I put a hole in the blade and did away with the flipper tab. Okay. Alrighty. Alright. Oh, forgot that. Alright, I'm going to close this blade real quick. Excellent. And then the other thing that I did was popped out. It had gray G10 pivot collars. I popped those out and dyed them black, as well as the backspacer was also gray G10. I just figured I'd give it a little pop of color, and, or I shouldn't say color, more contrast. But I really dig the way it turned out. I think the gray micarta, after I did the texturing on it, it lightened up quite a bit. All right. There's the clip. T6. These screws are so freaking tiny. All right. So there you go. Got the black pivot collar, black backspacer, totally rounded this off so it's nice and smooth now. Got a Spidey hole in the blade instead of a flipper tab. This is the Matt Christensen design Kaiser Mini Critical in CPM 3V blade steel. It's been acid washed. It's been reground. This thing is wickedly sharp. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, 15 thousandths behind the edge. Got an acid wash. Action on it is fantastic. Detent is a little strong, but totally workable. And oh yeah, it's already breaking in. So that part is sweet. So there you go. Mini Critical. This one also going to be up on the website. Acid washed liners, clip, blade, reground. This thing's going to cut like a freaking laser beam in 3V blade steel.
Blade
Okay, one more to go. We got another Sheepdog here. Now this one has basically all the same trim. Where are my liners? So it's got bronzed hardware, red micarta scales, and definitely a cool looking knife. And then I don't know if you guys have already noticed it or not, but I did one thing a little bit differently on this knife. I just thought it looked kind of cool, so we'll see once I get it put together. Might look ridiculous. I have no idea. I don't know if you guys can hear my boxer over there snoring, but you know, she's got a really, really rough life over there snoring her ass off. There's the other standoff. So these Sheepdog Xls, these are just, you know, awesome budget knives. And then, you know, after modding these things up and getting that blade down to about 10 thousandths behind the edge, these things are just an absolute laser beam. Really, really cool. I've enjoyed modding them, and it's just a really cool knife made with good materials, especially for the money. So, you know, here you can pick up a knife that is gonna outperform just about everything out there, and you can do it you know, for way less than 200 bucks. That's custom with good materials. Yeah, just really cool. I dig it. So hopefully you guys do as well. Okay. Get that liner on there. Perfect. Okay. Get a pivot collar. I really like the way the red turned out with the blue pivot collar. Sorry if I keep getting this thing out of frame. It's a lot more difficult to assemble all these knives when you're trying to make sure you're on camera. Alright, pocket clip, and I need a T6. Yeah, there. There we go. Oh, this... I was afraid that these were going to be a little too stiff detent wise, but all right. So you can see on this one here, when I did these blade holes, I'll show you. So you guys know that these are with a flipper tab. They don't come with the blade hole. So I put the oblong blade hole in like I did on the last one, but this one here, I went ahead and gave it some flare around the hole. It's on both sides. I thought it made it kind of look a little bit more like an eye or something. It's like a T-Rex looking kind of thing. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of cool, something different, and certainly very functional. It allows you to get down just a little bit further and kind of like a fuller on either side. Just some visual interest, a little bit different. But there you go. So we got two Sheepdog Xls, one of which is spoken for. The Kaiser Mini Critical, the Demco 80-20.5, and the Cold Steel 80-15, all of which have been reground. Oh, not this one, sorry. These four have been reground, are wickedly sharp, about 10 thousandths behind the edge, absolutely gorgeous. And these three are going to be up on the website. This one right here, like I said, was already sold, and this 80-20.5 is for a customer. But then we also have got the PM2 and Maximit. So all four of these are going to be up on the website. You know, you can pick up some custom stuff done by yours truly. If you're interested, go check out the website. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that little marathon knife assembly video. About 48 minutes, so less than an hour. And what, we assembled 5 knives, so, or 6, I don't know, whatever. Not bad, but we also did the Liang Ma KUF and the Orion Solaris. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed all that, and we will catch you next time. I'm gone. Peace.